Hello everyone, this is Professor Gant. I am recording this video for my Math 13-16 trigonometry courses that are held online. And so what I want to do here is give you a quick overview of eCampus as well as MyLabsPlus. I'm recording this video as of the fall 2018 semester, but of course what's in this video will apply to subsequent semesters as long as the setup and everything is the same. So the course numbers or semester may be different, but other than that, everything should be relatively the same. So the first thing I want to do is go into eCampus just to make sure that you kind of understand what is there, what you're looking at, as well as where are your important things. And as we go through that, I'm also going to highlight some things about the syllabus as well. One of the things I want to make sure that is clear to everyone is your options for taking your exams in this course. And in particular, you have what's called unit exams that you take at home. And then, of course, you'll have your final exam and midterm exams that you can also take it home as an option, but you also have the option to take it in the testing center. And so I'll clear some of that up as I go through this presentation. So I'm going through this as if you already know how to log into eCampus. If you don't, it's real simple, and I'll try to redo it here. So I'll go ahead and log out and log back in. So here you'll just type in ecampus.dcccd.edu and you'll jump to this page here, and then you'll click here to access. All this information that you see here is just information about the two-step verification that we're doing now. And so I've kind of already gone through this, but you will be prompted. You'll get like a separate screen, and it'll say, type in your login name, and then it'll like text your cell phone or send a message to your email to be able to give you the code that you need to go ahead and sign in. So once you do that, then you're here. I'm going to go into my list of courses, and I'm going to go into this course here, which is a 16-week college algebra course that I'm running right now. Here, what I want to start off with is the announcements. And so I've already set some other announcements up, but probably what you will see when you first get into the course will be this particular announcement here, which will basically say, hey, you can now look at the course. From here, you'll see that you'll have your welcome. This gives you an idea what the textbook looks like, so on and so forth. One thing that I do want to make sure that you understand is that the picture that I have here does come from a third-party vendor site. And these particular ISBN numbers are actually ISBN numbers that we don't use. Okay. Now, the reason I have them up here is because, as we were told, as of when we got this new textbook or whatnot, that didn't matter, but we found out that it actually did. So I'm going to let you know that if you're looking at this in subsequent semesters and you see these same ISBN numbers, then they're not correct. The simplest way to get what you need is just to go to the Northlake College bookstore. And I'm saying that because now what we have is customized text, customized access codes. So what we have is different than what, let's say, Amazon or some other company may have. Because of that, they're trying to get it more customized. So for that reason, to kind of save you a little less hassle, you want to go to the Northlake College bookstore to be able to get that access code. You do not need the physical textbook for this course unless you just want it. The reason I'm saying that is because MyLabsPlus actually has an ebook in it. So if you're fine with just accessing the ebook, then there's no need for you to buy the access code as well. And you can save yourself about 25 to 35 bucks from it. So back to the announcements. I just want to let you know that these announcements are here. some of the announcements that will be important to you, other than just knowing what the textbook looks like here, is this how do I announcement, which lets you know I have a how do I folder. If you have any questions about how to do something, I would say first go to this folder. If you can't find your answer there, then of course you can email me. The other thing that will be important to you is your due dates for tests. And so here you see that you have your due dates for Chapter 6, 7, midterm, Chapter 8, and 9. We also cover Chapter 10, but we cover that new material in the final exam. Your final exam is comprehensive, meaning that it is going to cover everything from Chapter 6 and through Chapter 10, of course, pieces of it. But we don't have a written test on Chapter 10 just because it's so close to the end of the semester. And as you can see here, for this semester, having Chapter 9 like the week before the last week of the semester, it's kind of hard to cram in Chapter 10. So not doing that. These other announcements that you see here, this one, the message about the Firefox browser and email issues, this is just basically saying, hey, we need you to make sure that you check your junk mail folders and make sure that if I'm emailing you and I'm not important right now, that I get important, those sort of things. And of course, for your Firefox browsers, or if you're using any other browsers, you want to go ahead and try to update those. There may be some instances where you have to go in and sort of tweak your browser to be able to accept certain cookies or whatnot. And so all of that stuff, again, will be handled in the How Do I folder. I have a little more extensive post on that with links for troubleshooting how to do that with all the current browsers that we use. These announcements that I have here, these first two are just issues that we have with the testing center, not testing center, but the bookstore. And so that probably is not going to apply to your particular semester, but the reason I'm showing you this is because I will be periodically sending you announcements. So you want to come and check these announcements at least a few times a week. And here, this announcement about the exam due dates, you want to check this one because let's say if something happens with the school or there's just some kind of issue with delivering a test or whatnot, I will change the test due dates only here in the announcements area. And of course, whenever I change it, you'll have a message sent out to your email letting you know that it's changed. But this is where it's going to be changed. And so I keep this announcement here for about the first 2 weeks in the semester. And then after about the third or fourth week, I kind of move it up to the top. And so it's actually about that time now. So I'm going to go ahead and move that up to the top so you can see that first. And I'll go ahead and get this moving here. Seems like it doesn't want to act right with me here. All right, so other things that I want to talk about. Your Start Here folder is important. In this Start Here folder, you have things that you need to do and fill out for certification purposes. And so these 4 things here, student profile survey, initial discussion board, making sure that you're logged in into MyLabsPlus and have done the first homework assignment, and confirming that your email addresses in eConnect and eCampus are the same, are things that we need to make sure are done so that I can certify you for the course. Here's a link to the student profile survey, and in this student orientation, you'll find out how to log into MyLabsPlus, information about temporary access if you need some time. Also, this particular video on the overview of eCampus and MyLabsPlus is in this particular folder as well. And this first thing handout is just sort of an overview of some of the basics about the course, as far as, hey, what textbook we have, how to log into eCampus, how the course is graded, that sort of thing. Okay. All right, so moving on here, I'm going to put this in student view so that you all can see exactly what you'll see. Here's my instructor info. Of course, due to the semester, it may change, but the important thing here to know is that you have my contact information. So if anything ever happens to you, or if you're not able to be active in the course for a while for extenuating circumstances, please reach out to me and let me know as soon as you can. Also, if you need to meet with me on campus, this is where you'll look to see what my availability is. I tell my students that although I do have office hours, I'm not one of those people that just sits around. So if I don't have a student coming, I'm going to be doing something else. Sometimes I'll be in these places that are listed. Other times I may be running around doing other errands and stuff around the school. So if you are going to see me, just text me, email me, let me know that you're coming, and of course I can accommodate you and be there. So the next thing I want to do is in this folder, the syllabus and course calendar. Of course, this is where basic information is about the course. As far as the grading of the course is concerned, I'm going to leave that to you to read. But other things that are here, your formula sheets, and so you can use these for your test. Also, any graph paper that you may need, you can print out some graph paper here depending upon what type of information you need or what type of graphs you need. If you want to get a good idea of what I'm looking for as far as how I want your work to look whenever you're writing out your written work for unit test as well as the midterm and final exam, this is an example of how it is here. All right, so moving on. The discussion board is one of the requirements that's here. So all you have to do is go in here and post. I only require that you make an initial introductory post as part of what you need to do to be certified for the course. All these other discussion boards here, these will be used at your discretion, and really what I'm doing is leaving it open for students who may have questions that they want to pose to their peers, or if students send me questions and I have to go in and sort of help you figure out, hey, what's the answer to this, or we have to troubleshoot something. I'm going to ask your permission to put that information inside of these discussion board posts as well so that we can share it with others. So the only thing that's required is this initial intro discussion board post, but these other ones are for you to be able to share and help each other out. So the How Do I folder gets into some of the things that you may have questions about with the course. And of course, I've mentioned it earlier in the announcements area, but this is where you want to go for that. In the professor lecture notes and videos area, you'll see that I have some lecture notes for this course. And so these are lecture notes that I've come up with. And of course, I'll be updating these as time allows. I also have videos as well. And so these are YouTube videos that I've created for some topics in our course. I also have some algebra videos as well, just in case you've forgotten some of those properties or some of those concepts and you need to sort of refresh on them. I have some here as well. So I do have example problems that are in here depending upon the section. So if you're looking at a problem and you're like, man, I really don't know how to solve that, viewing the example is really not helping, then you may want to look into the example problems area because I may have already done a problem like that. And also normally whenever I help out students and it's a problem where I need to kind of work out or give a little extra explanation and I do it in writing, this is where I put those. Of course, here's another place where you have graph paper and formula sheets. If you want to check out your grades, you need to go to this folder. In this particular folder, the exam test information folder, this is the folder that's going to give you your basic information on how you're going to take tests. And I want to spend some time and go over that. So Being that this is an online course, you have the option of taking your test in a Northlake College testing center, or you have the option of taking it at home. If you choose the option of taking the course at home, then you have to have the Respondus lockdown browser and webcam monitoring system software installed and working on your computer before you take your test. Okay, and what I mean by your major test or your proctored exams, I mean your midterm exam and your final exam. Okay, so remember there are two types of tests. Well, really three types of tests that you'll be doing. The first will be your practice test, which will be in MyLabsPlus, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Your actual exams, they are they're divided up in between your unit exams and your midterm and your final exams. Your midterm and your final exams are the ones that have to be done in a proctored environment. And these are the tests that you need Respondus for if you're going to do them at home. Okay? If you are going to take your exam in a Northlake College testing center, you will automatically be monitored. You will still access your test via Respondus, but they will guide you through that process in there. And the difference is that for those of you that go to the testing center, you will be taking your exams once you log on to Respondus, and you will go to MyLabsPlus to access your exams. Whereas if you take it at home, I have to give you an electronic paper copy of it. So you'll be just accessing Respondus, and then from that go to eCampus, and you'll see like a paper version of the test. So that's the difference in between the two options. The tests are pretty much the same in that the test will have the same types of questions. They won't be the exact same test. So if you take the test in the testing center, it's going to be a little different than the test that's actually that you take at home, but you will get all the same types of questions covering the same types of concepts. So it doesn't really matter which route you go, you just need to choose one and stick with it. Okay. One of the things I do want to make clear is that whenever you take a midterm or final exam, there is only one option to do. So you can't go take it in a testing center and then turn around and also try to take it at home. Okay. There's only one option. You either take it in a testing center or you take it at home. Whichever one you do first is the one that I grade. Okay. All right, so moving on from that, I want to make sure that you know that this is the information on how to basically get you set up in Respondus. The video that I have here is actually of a Math 1325, a business calculus course that I also run Respondus in. But the setup is very similar. So the only thing that's really different is the names of the folders. And of course, this folder here in my business calc course is named unit exams Respondus versus what I have here. Other than that, of course, the way that the tests are going to look will be different. Okay, because of course it's trigonometry and business calc is business calc, right? So I have a separate folder for what you do whenever you're taking the exams via Respondus, the steps, as well as the steps that you need to take whenever you're going to the Northlake College testing center. Okay, so depending upon what option you're doing, you need to look at these. If you're trying to install Respondus, you need to look here to figure out where to find that Respondus link as well as how to install it on your computer. Okay, so I have all that information there. In the next folder, which is the Respondus exams submit written work here, this is the place where you're actually going to access your midterm and final exams. You are also going to submit your unit, your written unit test as written work as well. Okay. Now, again, to make sure that, let me get this out of the way, to make sure that you know the difference, your written unit test will be done in MyLabsPlus, And I'm pointing here because that's where I have this at. It'll be done in here, okay? Your midterm and final exams depend upon where you take your midterm and final exam. If you choose to take all of your exams at home, then that means that your midterm and final exam will also will be done in eCampus. So you'll go through Respondus, get onto eCampus, and then from that you'll come to this folder here and access your midterm exam right here. And then you'll submit your midterm exam written work here. Same thing with the final exam. Final exam, you'll access here once you go through Respondus, and here you'll submit your written work. Now, for these written unit tests that I was talking about, everyone will access and take those in MyLabsPlus. These written unit tests are unproctored, meaning that you can just take them at home. You don't have to have anyone watching you, okay? So these tests are, the reason for these tests is to help you get ready for your corresponding midterm and final exam. And you'll see that these tests are weighted lower because of the fact that they're unproctored. And so part of the reason why we have to have proctored exams that weigh at least 50% or more of your course grade is because if they're not, then it may not transfer to the university that you may be trying to use as credit for. Okay, so by us making sure that, and how we do it here is your midterm exam and your final exam are at least 50% of your final grade. By doing that, that makes this course able to have credits be transferred to just about anywhere. Okay. So again, I want to make sure that you understand this is the folder where if you are going to take your midterm and final exams at home, this is where you go to access it. And for everyone, regardless of whether you're going to take your exam, your midterm and final exams at home or in the testing center, you're going to access these written unit tests in MyLabsPlus and submit your written work here in these folders. Now, these first two posts here, the first one is just about formula sheets that you can use again. And the second one here is about how you can actually take an app called CamScanner, take pictures of your work and form it all into one PDF file. And so I have information here on how to download that and all that good stuff. Because the thing is the only way, the only form I'm going to accept your written work is as a single PDF file. Okay. If you have other means of scanning your written work and loading it that way, that's fine. I just need it in a single PDF file, meaning that if your written work is 10 pages, I need one file with 10 pages in it with all your work. Nice and neat, legible, and problems done in order. That's how I need it. If it's not done that way, I will not accept it. And part of the reason for that is I want to be able to look at your work and give you as much credit as I can. To do that, I have to be able to read your work and I have to understand where everything is. If you can't provide that for me, then I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be able to give you what you deserve and what you earned. So I'm asking you to help me out by making sure that your work is nice, neat, legible, and packaged in a single PDF file. Okay. All right. So if you've read the syllabus, then you've also read about the guided notes. And so there's extra credit that goes along with these guided notes. I have went ahead and posted all the guided notes for all chapters that we cover in this course here. And of course, if you have completed these notes in its entirety, again, if you upload them here, I check that at the end of the semester and I give you the bonus points that are applicable for that. Another extra credit assignment here is the program learning assessment. It's just a simple assignment that we do like once every 2 years. I just keep it rolling because I think it's a good simple project to do, and it may help someone out as far as extra credit is concerned. Other than that, the rest of these links, your tech support, web links, links for useful websites and NLC student services, these are all just basic links that we have in all of our classes that has basic information in it. So if you want to, know where HR is, where disability services is, those kind of things, that's where that information would be. So that being said, we've talked all that I want to about eCampus here. Just to kind of do an overview before we move on to MyLabsPlus. Just remember here that start here. This is the basic information in the course, and also includes the list of things that you need to do to be able to be certified in the course. And make sure that you do what you need to do to be certified, because that could affect your financial aid and or student status and or visa status if you're an international student. So we want to make sure that we get that done. Check your announcements regularly. Contact me often, especially if something's going on with you to where you're not as active as you know you need to be. Here's where your syllabus is. This is a link to MyLabsPlus, which is right here. Of course, if you have any questions about the course, first go to this folder. If you don't find your answers there, then come to me. Here's where you can find lecture notes and videos that I've made and created, example problems that I've posted, graph paper and formulas, your grades in the course. This is where you get information about how to take your test, whether you're going to do it in the testing center or via Respondus. Here is where you access your midterm and final exams, as well as where you submit all of your written unit tests. If you want to fill out the guided notes and get the extra credit for that, you go here. If you want to do the program level assessment and get that extra credit, go there. And then, of course, these are just general links to general information. All right, so let's move on to MyLabsPlus. So for MyLabsPlus, to sign on, if this is your first time doing it, you need to put in your student number without the E in front for both your username and password. So for instance, if your student number is 7779311, then you'll do that for both your username and your password. So that means I typed in here 7779311, okay? And then after I do that, I'll click sign in. Now, my login is different, so I'm going to go ahead and switch and put mine in. And then after that, we'll be logged in. So once we're in, if you don't get to this point and you get some kind of screen that says error or something like that, just know that the reason for that is that you probably do not have your cookie set up right, or you need to clear your cache. And here you want to go to the How Do I folder and look up, or how do I get my internet browser working with MyLabsPlus. If you go to that particular post, then you should see something to help you out. So how do I get MLP working with my internet browser? So you can go here, click on these links, and that should get you in the right direction. So I'm going to click on this course here. And so I'm not going to go through a whole lot here, but I want to make sure that you know where the basic essential things are. Okay. Now, first, you see this information about your grade book and what your average is and all that stuff. Please ignore that. Okay. The reason I'm telling you to ignore it is because where your grade is going to be calculated at is in eCampus, not MyLabsPlus. Unfortunately, due to how we do things at Dallas County Community Colleges, we're not able to have a one-stop shop, one-place solution to where you can get everything at this time. And so We know that there is a plugin that we can use for Blackboard, but it's not approved by whoever approves that sort of stuff at Dallas County Community Colleges. So that's why we're having to do these things in 2 different systems instead of 1. Okay, but my point here is that ignore all that. Okay, the important things that you need to know. First, you need to get to your homework. Okay, and I know this says start homework, but this is actually the long way to get there according to how this is set up. So what I recommend is to actually go to quizzes and tests. And when you go there, come here and click on all assignments, and then you'll see all of your assignments in the order in which you need to take them. Okay. And so here you'll see that you have the getting started with MyLabsPlus, which is just an orientation. Getting ready for chapter 6 quiz, just to kind of get you started. Then of course you have your reading assessments, homework, and it keeps on going until you get to the end of that chapter. Your chapter 6 mastery test is a practice test, okay? And this says 0 to 2 times, but I'm going to change this and have it be an infinite number of times. So the reason why it's originally coded to be 2 is that we don't want you to just keep doing it over and over and over again. But I know some people need that repetition, so I'm going to make this infinite. So that way you won't have to email me back and forth a bunch of times, having me to allow you an extra chance or whatnot. Your actual chapter 6 written unit test, you only get 1 chance to do that, and that's the one where you would come back here into eCampus, and you'll go to this folder here. And after you're done working everything, you'll come and submit your written work right here. Okay. So after that, then of course, you see you have your SLO activity or whatnot. Then you'll start chapter 7, and then you just keep on going. Okay. So it's the same thing. You got homework. You got your mastery test, which is practice test. You have your SLOs. They'll pop up in their places. You have your written test, and then you just keep going. Now, for your midterm, do you notice here that this says only for NOC testing center takers? Please see eCampus if you are a Respondus test taker. So if you're taking your exams at home, you're not going to take this exam. Okay. Matter of fact, if you're trying to take it at home and you try to get into here, you won't be able to get into there because it's password protected. The only people that have the passwords are those people that are in the testing center. So only the people in the testing center can give you access to this particular test. If you're taking it at home, your exam is going to be accessed by going to the Respondus exam, submit your work here folder, coming here where it says midterm exam, click on this, and then go through the process. And you'll see that once you get to it, you'll just have a PDF link to click, a link to click, and it'll be a PDF file, and the file will actually be your test. And you'll just write down your problems and your work on there, all nice and neat, and of course take pictures of it, load it as a single PDF file, and send it to me. Okay, and then of course you'll upload it here. For those of you that are taking your exams in the testing center, once you have access to this test, the people in testing center will take your work and they will send it to me and give it to me in my mailbox. So you don't have to worry about scanning anything. I will have that. However, once I'm done grading your work, I will scan it myself and upload it into eCampus so that you can see my feedback on it. Okay. And again, the neater you write your work and the more information you provide, the more feedback I can provide you. If I can barely read what you have, but you got work down, then there may not be much feedback I can give you. Okay. And so it pretty much goes the same way. As you can see, we just got homework. You get to mastery test, which is a practice test, your SLOs, your written test, and you just keep it going. Okay. All the way till you get to the end, which is chapter 10. And then of course from here, your final exam. Again, if you are taking it in a Northlake College Testing Center, you're going to be accessing it here. If you are going to be taking it at home via Respondus, then you're going to access your final exam in this Respondus exams, submit written work here folder, and you'll come here, access it here, upload your work there. I do recommend everyone, before you actually try to run Respondus for an actual exam, take some time to do the practice exam that I have. And here, I'm trying to find it here. So I would recommend that once you get Respondus installed, that you come here, click on this practice exam, just to kind of see the flow in which stuff goes. And of course, the only thing that will be different is that here you will type in the word practice here, depending upon whether I actually have it set to do the whole Respondus thing or not. If it's already set to do the Respondus thing, depending upon when you do it, you may not have to go through this process here, because Respondus will automatically put a password in there if it's linked to that. For the rest of these, like your midterm and your final exam, it's definitely already set up to where Respondus just sort of takes over and it generates its own password. But with the practice one, I kind of want you to see how it goes. So I may leave it off so that you can, kind of see what it's going to look like when you go through that process. And so with that, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about here. So you got an idea of how to go through MyLabsPlus here and also eCampus. The only other thing I really want to talk about with MyLabsPlus is the Gradebook and the Multimedia Library. So your Gradebook, of course, is where all of your work is done. And as you can see, I've done nothing. Okay, but normally when you do something, you'll have what you've done here, the time that you spent, the date you started, what your current score is, and you'll also be able to review your work. And so I'm telling you this, and I'm actually going to just going to go into my homework right quick and just get a question wrong so you can see how this looks. So we'll go to test and quizzes here, like I told you before. Let's do all assignments. I'm going to click on this first homework assignment here, and I'm just going to type in anything. So I'll just type in 0 and get it wrong. All right, so I'll do that, and then we'll save. And then from here, if we go to Gradebook, you can see that the assignment has now been logged. I can review it, so I can actually go back in here and look at it, okay? Now, you can go back and review homework. You cannot go back and review tests. And for some of your quizzes, you can go back and review. I believe the SLO quizzes are the ones that you can't review, but like your getting ready quizzes, you should be able to review those. Another thing I want to address here is that in the homework list, I know for subsequent semesters this may not apply depending upon when you look at this video, but this course is originally set to have a bunch of prerequisites, meaning you have all these green flags here telling you that you have to do something else before you can get into a certain assignment. With that being said, I found that it's kind of hard to have everything work the way they're supposed to. So what I do each semester is I just get rid of all the prereqs and just kind of let you work the way that you want to. You need to be doing things in order, but with all the prereqs there's kind of like a loop in it that hasn't been fixed yet. And so since it hasn't been fixed, I'm just deleting them and letting you work it and kind of bounce around, at your freedom. So the reason I'm bringing this up is if you actually see all those green prereqs there, just send me an email and let me know that, hey, the prereqs are there. And of course, I'll fix that. Okay. Once whatever this thing is with the prereqs is actually fixed, then of course things will work a little bit more clean, and you'll see that you won't have any problems with it. But until I decide to do something else, I'm I'm leaving the prereqs off. So you shouldn't see any when you get into the course, but if you do, please let me know. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the Multimedia Library. The Multimedia Library is sort of like the central hub for all of the resources and information in this course. As you can see, we have videos, guided visualizations, learning activities, animations, and your textbook. And this is what I was saying, that you do have a place where you can get your textbook. So here, let's say you want to go to chapter 7, section 7.3, you wanted to look at a video. Let's say you wanted to do learning activity and multimedia video. You click. Let's try that again. And you can see you have the multimedia video, multimedia textbook here and your videos here. So it looks like for this one, we don't have any learning activities for that particular section, but you do have these resources here, okay? And so this is some of the stuff that you need to be looking at, as you try to learn the material, read the textbook, watch the videos, and also the guided notebook pages. And of course, I'll go back here. So your guided notes, that's where those are. Where I actually got those from is in this particular folder here. And so you don't have to go hunting for them. They're already in eCampus, so no need to have to go here. And so because of that, the only place you really need to go is quizzes and tests to, of course, get to your homework list, Gradebook to be able to see what you've done and review, and in the Multimedia Library to access all of your resources. And so with that, I'm going to close out. I hope that this has helped kind of give you some perspective on how this course goes, some of the basic things about it, how you take your test, what you need to do to set up your computer for your test, so on and so forth. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email or text. And like I say, I'm here to help you. Please, if you're having issues in the course, having trouble understanding something, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help, but I won't know that you need help until you reach out to me. So please do so. All right. Thank you so much.